A quiet morning in Los Angeles stirs with the feeling that something is about to change. The streets look the same, the buildings stand tall as always, yet there is a soft tension in the air like the city itself is keeping a secret. It's the kind of moment when the past decides to whisper again, when memories you thought were resting suddenly tap on your shoulder. And in that stillness, in the glow of the rising sun, a story long believed to be finished quietly wakes up. Ready to pull two lives back into its path, the city begins to breathe with the early light, brushing gold across the windows of tall towers and warm reflections across small shops opening for the day. Cars slide slowly through the streets as if they, too, remember an older rhythm. A calm hush hangs over the sidewalks, the kind you feel just before something meaningful returns. Inside a quiet penthouse, a hand steady yet carrying the weight of years moves gently across a box tucked away on a high shelf. The room is large, modern, and polished, but the box is old, worn at the edges, saved for reasons even the owner may not fully admit. Dust lifts into the air as the lid opens, stirring a forgotten warmth. Inside the box lies a collection of pieces that don't belong in a world ruled by meetings and deadlines. Letters carefully folded, ticket stubs from evenings that meant more than they should have. A simple necklace that catches the early sun and throws back a soft sparkle, one far more emotional than expensive. Fingers pause on each item, tracing not their form but the memory attached to them. There is no rush, only a slow, quiet acceptance at time never erased the past, it only placed it behind a door. Outside the window, the city brightens, unaware of the shift happening in this small moment. A deep breath fills the room, steady but heavy. The kind a person takes when they realize they are standing at the edge of something unfinished. The world has moved forward, yet something inside refuses to settle. The items in that small box speak in ways words never could, of promises, of choices made long ago, of a connection that didn't fade even as life carried them in different directions. The hand closes the box gently, but does not push it away this time. It rests there for a moment, hesitant, as if deciding whether to keep the past safely locked again or let it breathe. The morning light falls across the room with a soft glow, almost encouraging, almost knowing. There is a quiet awareness that the simple act of opening that box has shifted something. A truth that was buried now stands awake. Perhaps this morning wasn't meant to be ordinary at all. Perhaps this was the start of a story catching its second wind, pulling the heart toward a path it once knew, a path it never truly left. The day moves forward, yet the city seems to carry an unusual calm, as if it senses a quiet shift in the lives it shelters. Far from the high-rise towers and their polished windows, a small boutique rests on a quiet street corner. Its glass front glows with soft morning light, dusting red fabric on display with a gentle shine. The cloth sways slightly from the breeze slipping under the door, as though it remembers the woman who once transformed red into a symbol of hope, courage, and a new beginning. Inside the boutique, the room is simple but full of charm, warm colors, handwritten notes pinned to the wall, and the faint scent of perfume that feels familiar even if you can't place it. A hand reaches toward a sketchbook resting open on a table. The pages are filled with drawings not perfect, but full of heart. Dresses, shoes, little moments captured on paper. Some designs are crossed out, others circled with excitement. These sketches hold a mix of dreams and doubts, as if their creator has been building a life shaped not by luxury, but by passion and effort. Each line carries personality, each stroke a message from someone who has lived many lives and still wonders which one truly belongs to her. Beside the sketchbook, a letter sits half open, inked with careful handwriting. The paper trembles slightly under a soft breeze. It holds words that reveal longing, confusion, and a truth kept quiet for too long. There is a sense that the writer has been drifting between worlds, one where she has grown and built something strong, and another where a single chapter still waits to be resolved. Her footsteps move around the boutique slowly, almost as if she is trying not to disturb the emotions hanging in the air. She pauses near the mirror framed with tiny lights, looking at a reflection not shown to us, only hinted by the gentle outline of her hair and shoulders. It's clear she has changed, matured, softened in some ways and strengthened in others. The boutique feels like a world she created to protect herself from the noise outside, yet even inside this safe place, the past knocks softly. A red scarf draped over a mannequin stirs a memory that can't be ignored. The movement is subtle, but enough to pull her attention. She lifts the scarf slowly, letting the fabric slide through her fingers. It carries a warmth, a story, a moment when life took a turn she never expected. For a long breath, she holds it close, almost in disbelief at how one piece of cloth can carry so much of her history. Outside, people cross the street, unaware of the silent struggle happening behind the glass. Time moves, cars pass, conversations rise and fall. But inside the boutique, time seems to pause. There is a heaviness in the air, not sad, not painful, but filled with recognition. A gentle reminder that running from the past doesn't bury it. It only waits until you're strong enough to face it again. She sets the scarf down carefully, as though handling a fragile memory. Her gaze shifts to the open doorway of a small rehearsal space connected to the boutique. Wooden floors, soft lighting, and the faint echo of music from earlier practice. The place feels alive with old dreams she still carries. Stepping toward it, her movements are slow, thoughtful, almost hesitant. Just before entering, she places her hand on the doorframe and takes a steady breath. Something calls her forward, a sense that whatever lies ahead will demand courage she isn't sure she still has. But the morning light pours across her path, gentle yet firm, as if urging her to step into what's waiting. And though we cannot see her face, the quiet shift in her posture whispers that she knows the truth. The past is no longer behind her. It is standing in front of her now, asking to be seen again. The day stretches into a warmer light, and the city begins to hum with its familiar rhythm. Yet beneath that rhythm lies a growing tension, as if two separate worlds are slowly drifting toward the same point. In the middle of downtown, where tall glass buildings catch the afternoon sun, a stack of papers rests on a conference table. The documents are filled with numbers, signatures, and heavy decisions, plans for a merger that promises power, profit, and change. But change rarely comes without cost. A hand flips through the pages with a practiced calm, though a quiet unease hides beneath the surface. Each page turned feels heavier than the last, as if every signature inked will echo into places no one in the room sees. The room itself is silent except for the soft rustle of paper. A sleek pen rolls slightly across the table, stopping at the edge of a report marked with a red circle. The circle highlights a line that reveals the true impact of this merger, the threat to a small community arts center. To some, it looks like a minor detail, a footnote, a small inconvenience in the path of profit. But for someone who once believed in unexpected joy found in the simplest places, this detail feels anything but small. The hand pauses on that page, firm and unmoving, as if a memory is pulling it back in time. Outside the building's wide windows, traffic moves with purposeful speed, unaware of the quiet storm forming inside. The light from the setting sun reflects across the polished table, casting long shadows that stretch like unanswered questions. A chair shifts slightly, not from impatience but from the weight of realization. Life has a strange way of bringing the past to the doorstep just when you believe it's safely locked away. A faint knock echoes through the moment, not from a door, but from the memory rising inside the person seated. Meanwhile, in another part of the city, the arts center stands in its quiet charm. Wooden floors worn from years of dancing feet, walls painted with laughter and dreams of people who found themselves here. The building isn't grand, but it carries a heartbeat, a sense of belonging that can't be measured in profit charts. In the dim light of the rehearsal room, music plays softly, not from speakers but from a small radio with scratches from years of use. A hand adjusts the dial, letting the melody fill the space, warming corners that longed for sound. The lights above flicker as if waking from a long sleep. The hum of the bulbs feels familiar, almost comforting, even though everything else around is uncertain. The air carries the scent of wood, dust, and something gentler, hope, maybe. The faint echo of footsteps crosses the room, steady but cautious. Whoever walks here carries both strength and vulnerability, shaped by years that softened some edges and sharpened others. It is a quiet walk, not the walk of someone lost, but of someone trying to decide what to hold on to. A bulletin board in the hallway holds flyers from past performances, wrinkled edges, faded colors, corners fixed with tape. Each flyer tells a story of people who found a piece of themselves on that stage. One flyer flutters slightly as if stirred by an unseen memory. The air shifts, reminding the person standing nearby of what this place once meant to them and what it still could mean. The hand grazes the edge of the fluttering paper, not with hesitation, but with a deep sense of connection. The light in the hallway grows warmer as the sun dips lower outside. Shadows stretch across the wooden floor, blending the present with the past. There is something unmistakable in the era and approaching intersection of two very different paths. A decision in a tall office building. A dream stirred awake in a quiet rehearsal room. Two worlds moving without seeing each other, yet linked by the very thing they think they left behind. In the quiet stillness of both places, a shared truth rises like a whisper. The choices made today will pull the stories back toward each other, whether they are ready or not. The city doesn't know it yet, but something long separated is beginning to move together once more. And somewhere deep inside, hearts that try to move on can already feel the shift. Evening begins to settle over Los Angeles with a slow, golden fade, covering the city in a warm glow that feels both gentle and charged. The streets hum with steady movement, but beneath the surface, something far quieter is unfolding, something that lives in the space between memory and possibility. At the edge of the city, a balcony overlooks the skyline, its railing cool from the evening air. The lights below sparkle like scattered stars, each one flickering with its own story. But tonight, the balcony holds a story waiting to be written again. A soft breeze pushes through the open curtains, making them sway like slow-moving waves. Inside the dim room, silence holds the air thick, thoughtful, almost expectant. A shadow moves into the soft light, steady and slow, as though unsure whether stepping forward will open a door or close one forever. The silhouette pauses near the balcony threshold, hands lingering on the frame as if searching for the courage to step through. There is no face shown, no expression revealed, but the posture speaks louder than any words could. It carries the weight of time, the quiet ache of choices made long ago, and the sudden rush of a feeling resurfacing after years of pretending it was gone. Across the balcony, another figure moves into the frame, this one softer in presence, but filled with a different kind of strength. Their steps are light yet grounded, like someone who has walked through storms and learned how to stand again. The evening glow outlines their form, turning them into a silhouette against the shining horizon. For a moment, neither figure moves closer. They simply breathe the same air, sharing the same quiet space where two distant lives have unexpectedly aligned once more. The wind carries a faint hint of perfume, a scent familiar enough to stir a memory deep in the mind of the other figure. The kind of memory that never truly fades, even when time tries its best to bury it. Though their faces remain unseen, the shift in the air says everything. The subtle tension, the unspoken recognition, the undeniable pull that time could slow but never erase. It feels as though the universe has paused just long enough for two stories to remember each other. Down in the streets, a car horn echoes briefly, pulling the city along its endless motion. But here, on this balcony, the world feels still. The second figure steps closer, stopping just within reach of the other's shadow. Hands twitch slightly, as if caught between reaching out and holding back. The gap between them is small, yet it holds years of untold words, unfinished thoughts, and feelings that were never fully allowed to bloom or fade. The tension is soft but powerful, carrying the sense that something long separated is finally coming home. Inside the room behind them, a phone begins to vibrate on a table, its screen lighting up with an unknown number. The sound is faint, almost ignorable, but it creates an echo in the quiet space, an echo that hints at the world outside this moment, at responsibilities, at the life each has built far away from this balcony. But neither figure turns to answer it. Instead, they remain there, suspended in a moment where past and present are pulling at the same thread. A soft exhale breaks the silence, gentle, unsure, but honest. It carries the weight of a truth finally surfacing. The second figure moves their hand just slightly, not fully reaching out, but close enough that the space between their fingertips feels alive. The first figure shifts as well, their stance loosening, as though acknowledging that what brought them here wasn't chance but something far deeper. The city lights flicker against the balcony railing, reflecting small glimmers across the shadows. For the first time in years, their paths are close enough to touch, close enough for the past to breathe again, close enough that the story once thought finished begins to write its next lines quietly, slowly, and filled with the promise that some connections don't fade. They wait. Night spreads itself gently across the city, turning skyscraper windows into glowing patterns and quiet neighborhoods into soft pockets of shadow. Los Angeles feels different under the night sky, slower, deeper, more honest. The noise of the day fades into a low hum, leaving room for the kind of thoughts people usually try to ignore. Somewhere in the middle of this calm darkness, two separate lives begin to move in quiet circles, unknowingly drawing closer to the moment that will shift everything. Across the city, a limousine door closes with a muted thud, echoing briefly through the quiet street. The polished vehicle reflects streetlights in long streaks as it pulls away, but the moment inside the car lingers in the air. A hand rests on a ring placed gently on the seat, the metal catching faint hints of light as the vehicle moves. The ring carries years of promises, some kept, some forgotten, some left hanging in the space between what was said and what was meant. The fingers brush over it with a softness that reveals more conflict than comfort. Sometimes the body remembers what the heart tries to deny. Inside a penthouse suite high above the city, the glow of candlelight flickers across a neatly arranged table holding untouched champagne glasses. The bubbles rise and fall in silent celebration, though no one is celebrating. The room is beautifully set, yet strangely empty, as if someone tried to prepare a perfect moment but forgot the part where the moment actually matters. Curtains move with the breeze, brushing against the quiet like a whisper. The stillness in the room feels heavy, filled with the weight of a realization that has been growing quietly. Success can fill a home, but not a heart. Meanwhile, in a warm-lit studio surrounded by mirrors and old wooden floors, music drifts through the space like a memory reborn. Soft, slow, familiar. A figure moves with gentle steps, the rhythm shaping each motion with a mix of hesitation and longing. The dance is not polished or perfect, it is honest. It carries the echo of dreams once followed freely and later set aside for the sake of reality. The reflection in the mirror doesn't show the face, only the silhouette. But the posture reveals everything. A person caught between independence and the pull of something they never fully let go of. In the hallway outside the studio, a red coat hangs on a simple hook, swaying slightly every time the air shifts. It stands out against the muted walls like a memory refusing to fade. That coat was once a symbol of courage, rebellion, and a heart unafraid to love without knowing the ending. Now it hangs quietly, as if waiting to be chosen again, not as a costume from the past, but as part of a story still being written, back in the penthouse. The champagne glasses catch the light from the city as the phone on the table begins to vibrate. The soft light of the screen breaks the darkness, revealing an incoming call with no name attached, just a number that feels strangely familiar. The vibration stops, then starts again, each pulse echoing like a heartbeat hesitating before it chooses a direction. But the call goes unanswered. The moment is too fragile, too full of things that can't be said over a phone. A brief silence spreads across the city, as if the world itself is taking a long, steady breath. These two lives, different, distant, yet bound by something powerful, feel the shift without knowing why. Like a thread tugging gently against their hearts, pulling them toward a place where their stories might find each other again. The night deepens, and with it, a sense of something rising, something long overdue. In that quiet, a truth floats unspoken through the city. Some loves don't disappear. They simply wait for the right moment to return. And tonight, the moment begins to take shape slowly, softly, as the world around them prepares for the first spark of a reunion neither expected, but both have carried inside them all along.